Hi there, going to start the tutorial now. This is some of the stuff you'll need. You'll need fabric, an elastic, pins, cutting tools, a marking utensil of some sort. I'm just going to use a marker. You can use special marking pens, doesn't matter. Okay, let's get started. These are your fabric cuts. You're going to have the largest piece cut at 14 inches by 8 inches. The next piece you're going to cut, which can be the same fabric, I'm using a contrast fabric here for a special mask for my niece, and it is 2 inches by 12 inches. And finally, you will need 2 pieces of elastic, either 38 inches or smaller wide. You can even use the cord, cut at 7 inches each. So those are your next, that's what you're going to cut. That's your next step. Okay. Now that you've got your 14-inch by 8-inch piece and your 2-inch by 12-inch piece cut, you're going to go ahead and take your 14 by 8 and fold it in half. Cut your ends there. And then you're going to come over to your sewing machine and you're going to want to sew it on the 1/4 inch seam. Back stitching at your ends. Okay. Now you're going to want to turn it right side out. Have fun doing that. Okay, and then a little trick I learned that helps for pressing is I take this and I press this seam to one side and then I fold it in half. And it makes it a little easier to press that seam. And then you're going to press. Okay. Now then you're also going to take your 2-inch by 12-inch piece and you're going to fold and press it also so that you have it lengthwise looking like this in half. And then that you're eventually going to cut into 2 6-inch pieces so that you have 2 pieces that are 6 inches by 1 inch folded. And you set those aside for later. And you get your piece that you've sewn. I don't want to mark up my ironing surface here, so I'm going to set it aside. And you're going to need your ruler, which I have, and your marking tool. And these are going to be your marks. You're going to mark it at 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 4.5 inches, and 5.5 inches. So, you can come closer. I put it just barely at the edge because you don't want it anywhere in your stitching.
Trudy,
You what?
I'm going to stop this for a minute.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm ready. Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
I can edit it, so that's what I'm asking. Okay. So, on your ruler, you're going to take your marking implement. I'm using just a regular marker and marking very close to the edge. Now, you don't want to make the marks too small or you won't be able to see them. But you want to do them as close to the edge as possible so they don't show up after you sew. But you're going to mark it at 1.5 inch, 2.5 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 4.5 inches, and 5.5 inches. And then you're going to come over to the other side and do the same. again, 1.5, 2.5, 3, 4, 4.5, and 5.5. All right. Now that you've got it marked, you can set your measuring tool and your marker aside because you won't need those again. And you're going to come over to your ironing area. Now this is the part that I have discovered you can do a multitude of ways. Figure out which is the easiest for you, but I'm going to show you the way that works best for me. You take your markings and you're going to fold them. Now you might want to take some notes because I found that if I wrote down the inches that I marked and then next to them I put a little line and said fold and iron or fold and press, it made it a little easier to remember. So on your 1.5 inch mark, you're going to fold it on those lines from line to line all the way across and press it. And then you're going to go up to, you're going to skip the next line, which is the 2.5, and go to the 3-inch line. You're going to do the exact same thing. You're going to fold it on those marks and press it. And finally, you're going to come up, pardon me, you're going to skip again this 4-inch line and go to the 4.5-inch line and fold and press. So you've got it with 3 press marks. Okay? So once you've got those, you're going to go ahead and take it where you pressed and take this to the mark that you skipped folding on. So you're going to match it. You're matching your mark to there. Now I put pins in. So you can do one line at a time, one side at a time. That's what I found works easiest for me. And now at this point you can press that and then go from there, like this one here. See how it's already pressed? Or you can do the next line. Take your fold, your next fold, and take it to the next line and match those up and put your pin in. Match and pin. And again, you can press these as you go. Again, I've got an example where we've got our final crease and you've got 2 pressings. Or again, you can continue to just fold whatever's easiest, please do that. And meet your marks and pin. And then you can press those all at once. Careful not to burn yourself or poke yourself. Now then, for good measure, I like to flip it over and iron it on the other side. It makes it a little flatter, a little smoother, a little tidier. So you come out with it looking like this with your 3 little creases. Okay, once you've got that all done, you're going to need your elastic, which I know I have here somewhere. Thanks. My elastic hid. There it is. You're going to need your 2 elastic pieces and a couple more pins, about 4 pins, whatever makes you happy, really. There are those of you who won't use pins. You do what's best for you. Now then, I don't do any measuring at this point. I just guesstimate, that's fine. But you're going to take your elastic and you're going to come in anywhere from 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch from the edge and pin it in place. Loop it around. Do the same thing on the other side. Repeat for the other end. Okay, I'm going to show you this on a little darker fabric so you can get a better look. Oh, where'd it go? I lost my example. Well, you're going to have to just look at this one. Okay, so you've got your elastics on either end, looped around like that. Now, you're going to get your 2 little pieces. Again, they can match, they can contrast. It's your choice. You're going to take them with the raw edges, the cut edge, and you're going to match your cut edge to your cut edge, leaving about anywhere from 3/4 to 1/2 inch at this edge. Fold it over and pin it. And then I pin it a little more. I take out my pins and repurpose them here to secure it in place. Again, whatever you want to do is fine.
Who's dinging me?
Don't talk. Whatever you want to do is fine. And then you turn this under. And you're going to pin it in place. It'll be a little longer than you want, but that's okay. That's what your scissors are for. If you can find them. Stop it.
Stop it.
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
It's a good thing I know how to edit. You
Yes.
ready? All right. So you've got this little extra bit. You can just fold it back. Cut it off as close to the edge as possible. They don't have to match. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you're going to throw that away. You're going to repeat on this end with the folding over and the pinning. And you're going to end up with something that looks like this, with it pinned in place and folded. Okay? Then you're going to get your machine. We're done with the iron. Turn that off. I'm trying not to burn myself. And you're going to sew 1/4 inch on each side. And you take out your pins and you'll end up with this. So it's sewn, you've got your ends tucked under, stitched 1/4 inch on each side, elastics here. Okay, and then you're going to turn it. You just pull it out. You can press it if it makes you feel better. I don't till I'm done. That's just my personal choice. Whatever you feel is, you do you, boo. Okay, then you're going to, on the other side, the opposite side, the side with the still raw edge, you're going to make sure that's down. And you're going to bring it over. And now you can pin it, or you can just sew it. You're going to stitch as close to this edge as possible. So you have something that looks like this, with your stitching right there next to the edge. let me turn it this way. Right here, very close to the edge of your fold there. So you've pinned it, see? And then you're gonna stitch along there. And then you finally end up with your mask. And even though this one's not quite done, I'm gonna go ahead and you can pull it up to my face at this point. The elastics will go on the back side. Goes on the face. And then you just pull up and down. And there you have your mask. And then just give it a little pull. Goes right back into shape. And if